Danny. This is the second time around trying to do this and see how it maps out because we really don't know it's a live stream. 10 seconds into it, we tried it before, no viewers, so obviously no likes or dislikes, but not to worry. It says it is defined in comedy, but there's no comedy about it, except the microphone's a bit of a comedy at the moment because I'm not too sure if you can hear me loud and clear. Probably can, but for the rest, it really is testing things out. We're intending to set up a channel called Rung's Family Ties because Rung is from Thailand. And come a bit closer, Dan. You're too far away. You're not even in the picture anymore. You're not even on the screen. That's better. And I am Frank, and we've been to Thailand. I've been going to Thailand since 1993. I met my wife in, well, it was the year 2000, but we've been writing a long while before that. That's a very beautiful story. It's part comedy in some respects because as it happened, I was writing to Rung's sister for a while through a pen friend relationship. I met Malai at that time, and then we started writing to each other, which was nice. But not directly because I was writing to your sister, and the letters were coming back in a very sort of mechanical fashion. So in the end, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to ring your sister and find out if we have anything at all in common. And I discovered when I spoke to her briefly that she could hardly speak any English apart from hello and maybe goodbye, and I could hardly speak any Thai apart from "But a Thai Dai nit no in the cap." So anyway, we got nowhere quickly, and there was laughing in the background, and she seemed to have quite a husky voice, and I thought probably a lady boy. But as it turned out, 4 years later, I was in Amsterdam, lived there now, and worked there for 30 years. I was in Amsterdam on the tram, and I was reading my post that day. I had no time to read it on the houseboat that I lived at, and there was a letter in amongst all the bills, and it was a letter with familiar handwriting, put it that way, and it was a letter from Rung, and I opened it up, and it said, "I know you, but you don't know me. You used to write to my sister Sumrak. She's now married with 2 children. Tell your wife, if you're married, not to be angry with me, but I used to have to interpret the letters for her, for my sister, and you seem like a nice man, and I just want to be good friends." Well, I wasn't married, and I showed this letter to all, especially the girls, because guys are so cynical if you do something like that with guys. So I showed the letter to all the people that I was working with, and especially the women, and they said, "Wow, that's from the heart, Frank. That letter is from the heart." I said, "Okay, I'll give it a go. I'll write back." And I think you received the second letter before the first letter. I've still got all the letters there because in those days, in 2000, we didn't really have mobile phones. You had to be very rich or a drug dealer to have one in those days. So so we did the old pen friend thing. And the wonderful thing about handwriting and the meticulous attention to detail that you pay to every letter, not just every word that you wrote. It's poetry in motion. So anyway, I read it, and I wrote back, and I think he got the second letter before the first. But in the end, we made some communication. The letters got sweeter and nicer and more communicative. And finally, in the year 2000, I arranged to meet you, and I was going to Korat from Bangkok, but because of another communications breakdown, because you thought I was going to be on the 5 o'clock train in the morning and I was on the 11 o'clock train. So effectively I was 5 hours late. But what compounded the situation was, while I was on the train, I started speaking to this little old lady using my Thai phrase book and explaining the situation about this lady that I was looking forward to meeting. And she said, "Oh, how wonderful." She understood it through Thai English translation, and she said, "Let's give her a ring." So in those days, for a rich old lady to have a phone was a bit of a novelty, but she decided to ring Rung's family, and her mother picked up the phone. I was 5 hours late, oblivious to this, and when Rung's mother heard that I was coming with another lady, she contacted Rung at the station and said, "Come back home. He's not only 5 hours late, he's coming with another woman." Well, when I got off the train in Korat, smiling, Rung was in a beautiful blue suit, and she didn't say anything about the fact she's been waiting for 5 hours. And so it took a long while to find out that story. But we went out with the family and had a meal that night, and I realised that it wasn't just the words that were so persuasive, but her personality and her sincerity. And I think I more or less half fell in love before I met her. You might call that stupid, say what you will, but in the end, 20 years on of happily married life almost, it's been marital bliss for the main part. It was a big challenge for me in the beginning because I was 49 years of age, used to a single life, and then suddenly I had a new wife and later two kids because you were married to a teacher who sadly committed suicide, and you were left with two kids. And I thought, we've got to bring them over too. And then I discovered the son, the younger boy, was becoming so attached to his grandmother. He was seeing his grandmother as his mother because Rung was over for a few months in the Netherlands, coming to terms with a different environment. And I thought, right, okay, it's not just the sons that have to come over here. It'll also have to be the grandmother. And all those grandmother jokes you've heard, a lot of them are true, believe me. But that was a little bit later down the line. What we did initially was I realised that I was living then on the Keizersgracht in Amsterdam, but it wasn't my house. And I thought, we've got to buy a house, got to get a house because we need more bedrooms. And that's what we did. And we moved to a new town, in fact, the newest town in the whole of the Netherlands, I think, Lelystad, which in 1965 was 10 meters underwater, but the Dutch are very good at reclaiming land, and that's what they did. So now it's a vibrant city of 80,000 people. City? Town, probably in England, but anyway, that's the way it is. And as for the grandmother jokes, well, her mother overstayed her visa a bit, and if I had any hair to pull out, which I don't, then I would have done. I would have done at that time because she was dyeing her hair in one room, and obviously in Thai villages they don't have carpets, and if you dye your hair, you can just rinse it away with some soapy water. But in this case, it went onto the brand new carpet when we moved into the house, and in a fit of anger, I said to Rung, "Tell your mother never, ever, ever dye her hair in this room again." And Rung, she told her exactly what I told her, and she didn't. She went to another room and dyed her hair, and another carpet was ruined. So the grandmother jokes are partly correct, some of them at least. So anyway, the idea of this Frank's Family Ties is really just to introduce you to our lives, 20 years of married life that have become a little bit of a struggle recently because Rung is suffering with Alzheimer's now. Was diagnosed 3 years ago, wasn't it? But he's still doing okay, darling. Yeah. And it's a labour of love. You know, I retired from work 2 years ago, and now I've got another full-time job. But this is a job that I enjoy much more because I'm being even closer to the person I love. It's not easy. I'd be lying if I said it is, but it's part of the challenge of married life in sickness and in health. And I know if roles were reversed because he used to be a nurse, then Rung would look after me a lot better than I'm looking after her. So I fully respect that and everything she does for me in the meantime. So that's where we're at. We've travelled to 17 countries in Europe. We've travelled to 7 countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, China, Beijing, Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, Cambodia, Angkor Wat we saw was Siam Reap, wasn't it? Where else have we been? Yangon, the capital of the old Burma, which is now Yangon. Rangoon was the old capital. We've been to Hong Kong. We've been to Laos, which we hope to go to again this year. First time, we really spent some time last time. We enjoyed it very much. The previous time with your brother, it was fleetingly. It was only for about 6 hours, so we didn't see a lot of it. So lots of things to look forward to later in the year. We're going to England for my sister's son's wedding next month. And the first half of it was in Oxford a while ago. And that was for the Indian side of the family. This is for the Farang side of the family. want of a better way of describing people who like to drink alcohol. So we're going for that. That's in Chester in a month's time, and also we're planning on another 2-month trek to Thailand and now in November, December. So we have recorded a lot of GoPro videos. I haven't uploaded them yet, but in the end we will do, of our trips to Thailand previously, and some new ones, of course. So I look forward to the pleasure of your company, or we look forward to the pleasure of your company, as in the not too distant future. That's the only way I can describe it, because this is an experiment. It's only the second live stream that we've done, and like the previous one, nobody's watching. So I won't get any thumbs up or thumbs down, thank God, but we'll see how it goes from now on in. Okay, bye for now.